you look at the Bilti Muge of Gimel, it's more that more parts of the Muge to Maamer come from Yud Zayin from Yud Gimel. Yud Zayin is mamish, though there's Shinui, which they say, but the Yonah there, mamish Barichis. The whole Maamer Yud Gimel is like 2 pages.
Are they putting out the Sefer of
Shlomis?
Yeah.
Some stage, it's not.
It's looking forward.
Oh, we hear for care that the Muge to Maamer is being more than the Bilti Muge. Said it's 2 pages, 2 in a draft. A few cases that aren't here, but it's mamish bekitzer. It's the second Maamer. It's on?
Yeah, I can't get a recorder. The guy that usually comes.
So you can't hear anything?
You could, it's not going to be so stark.
Should I record
can you
myself
record?
on audio?
Yeah, maybe it does. Thank you.
Say what, then you match it up?
Yeah.
Cool. Someone came and asked me, according to the Maamer, Hama is a smart cheder man, yeah? Hama dacht he was chassidus. Why did he do a pur? Even the Pashtus he pshat. He was doing a pur, it means he understood, verstanden in Yom Shal Mayla. Right, he went to the Rashi Chazal, it wasn't Stam he did a pur landed on out there. He went through all the days of the week and all the months and there was he was very involved in what was going on in the Echere Valley. Especially when you learn about Chassidus, so Haman, why did he do the Pur? Haman verstanden, right? Before this Maamer, not many of us understood this way. But Haman verstanden that in Teva, in the system, Yidden will always win. Doesn't mean klar by it. Where's he going to win? Goyro. The Goyro, he has a chance, 50-50. Maybe even more than 50-50. He could win. So Haman knew about the system. Right, he understands the system of Teru mitzvahs and the Yidden are harder than Goyim and mitzvahs will always win over Avedas. And then he understands that there's a darga where Mchatasim Atilfa Boy Shecham Atasaloi, where mitzvahs and Avedas are Vecheshach Shabbat Legavei. And Yidden and Goyim are Shabbat Legavei. So he's going for Goyim. The last pra, that the monkey wrench of Bchira, he didn't know what Bchira. He missed that. He missed that day in school. He didn't learn that Maamer about Bchira. Hey, what's the pshat? He knew it all, he didn't know about Bchira. Then, comes out in Karu Yud Gimel and tells us, oh, that's where he was missing. Right, which is bad saying it sort of mirrors what Chazal say, right? He was all excited about it. Oh, there, all other months he had a problem with him because there was a good thing or a bad thing for Klal Yisrael. So there was a shaykhis to Klal Yisrael, a velus or simcha. Came to Adar and he's like, oh, somehow sometimes and Tisha B'Av won't work for him to do the Gzeirah, but Yom Shemes by Moshe works for him. Say that's also saying. He knew about Yom Shemes by Moshe, didn't know about Yom Shnele by Moshe. So right there, he missed that day. Like he didn't get the memo. Hey, it's Mes by Moshe, it's clear in Torah. Nele by Moshe is a little more to learn a little more Teresh B'Al. Right. But Chassidus, what's the pshat? How do you know everything besides for Bechira? It's not about Badash Hashem. What's the pshat?
Chashas is talking about the Yisar Lamayla. So the problem we talked about everything.
Okay, so Yisar Lamayla, yeah? And Yisar Lamayla Pasha didn't know about the Bechira trick?
No, you wouldn't reach Bechira. However, the Abishah chooses the Abishah chooses Yidden.
I understand.
He can't reach that, what's he going to go against?
No, I said he can't go against it. What I'm saying is, but he goes to Goyro because there he could win. But he doesn't know that there's something called Bechira, and besides Bechira overrides Goyro, and Bechira more than that, Bechira goes into the dark of Goyro.
That's the whole nest, and that's what the Bechira is. How do you know that was the nest was going to happen?
Okay, so this will lead us to the next shot. Okay, so there's two names. So you brought up, one second, you brought up what's the code that you just said that. I was talking about Kumchir. How should you know that Bechira should happen? And then the Bechira came through at Samanet, through the Avodah, but that's all in the first day. Say it, over they state, right? And what's the lashon here? That idea Mesiras Nefesh Yisrael Meshach Kol Hashana Nimshach Miskal Bechiras Atzmos BeYisrael.
Well, I remember I said that they just sent Haman in order that Yidden should be.
That's right. This fits with what it says with Haman Chassidus. Just like Pare, he can believe on Shali Salah against Reshamai, and also Haman. Yeah, that's why every once in a while we have a major anti-Semite come and remind us. Yeah, the famous Yechidus, Yalaf Nissen Lamed Beis, that it was spoke to Yitzchak Rabin. He quoted the Yechidus different years, different Eifanim. I don't know if he fully got the point. The point is that I had a conversation with him. If the survival of Klal Yisrael and the fact that we're still around, is it basically how connected is it to this that Am Levadad Yishka? Meaning, is the anti-Semitism that exists, and the fact that we're alone, is that a cause? Is that an effect? Is that what makes it happen? Right? It's anti-Semitism. The fact that they didn't allow us to assimilate is why we didn't assimilate. But if they would have allowed us, we wouldn't be around. So in a way, it's not the wars against us and the fighting against us. It's a Klar Heinz, yeah? This Irish the Klal Yisrael, the last half of the years, it hasn't been around so long. Why? Because they killed us. They tried to kill us. Right? So it sort of works that way. So, to put these different young together, basically what we're saying is like this. The Taka Haman looked around, he's like, the matzav right now, 50-50. I'll bet on this, because there are no other chances. Yidden came around, were boicher in the Eibishter, went on Mesiras Nefesh, and Mesiras Nefesh triggered the Bechira Del Maila, and therefore they won. Haman might have known that Mesiras Nefesh actually does that, but he wasn't expecting that to happen, because he found the Yidden in a very vulnerable state. They were in prison with Feirad, they were nenim, all these young. And then Mordechai came, it's like, you're trying to play Goyro, I'll get Yidden to be Boicher, and that will be Mo'er B'chir L'mayim. Logo, Mesiras Nefesh, I'll be B'chir. Let's use something like this. Let's see what we're saying. The problem is, does that actually work with B'chir? B'chir take the whole vertical way we understand B'chir. Right? The Rebbe always brings the Alter Rebbe in Perek Mem Ches, in Tanya. What does he say? The B'chir of the Eibishter and the Yidden is in the Neshamas or in the Gufim? In the Gufim. Why? Because the Neshamas of Klal Yisrael are greater than there are no Neshamas. Our Nefashos are greater than their Nefashos. So it's not a competition. B'chir can only be in Shnei Dvarim Shabbat, where there's no mile of one over the other. And we say you're boicher. And that's the whole theme of the Maamer, right? The B'chira is higher than Seichel, higher than Ratzin. Where Seichel and Ratzin can't be Machriya, B'chira comes. But now we're saying no. As long as the Yidden and the Goyim were equal, there was no major mile one over the other, especially because the Yidden were Nishtachbol at Selim, and then Mesilas Shalei Rasha, so Goyro could go in either way. Now that Yidden went on Mesiras Nefesh, so now the Eibishter is Boicher then. The moment the Yidden go on Mesiras Nefesh, it's B'chira. The Yidden are better now, weiter. Saying, no. Mesiras Nefesh Dazah Avoida, somehow it sort of comes to this point that it's a regular Avoida, but then weiter, but that's the whole issue. The whole issue is that it's a Goyro. What are we saying? We're saying that in Goyro, our Avoida isn't take us Makim. The Ma'ila of Yidden isn't take us Makim. Mitzvahs aren't greater than Averis. That's Goyro. Yidden and Goyim are equal. Through Mesiras Nefesh, what happens? Mesiras Nefesh is our Avoida. So Mesiras Nefesh makes that our Avoida should be Teifas Makim. So through Mesiras Nefesh, we go down from Soiviv to Mimala, we go down from Kachashecha Ka'ira to Seichel, because then not be Seichel. We're Mesiras Nefesh, we're connected to the Eibishter, so the Eibishter wants us. But the whole word of Goyrel is that it's in a place that our Avodah is not Teifas Makim. So what's Hafkun to Mesiras Nefesh? How do we resolve the issue? We're trying to get the point in the Maamer, and the final word, how we actually come to Siftes, and the whole Maamer is just like, the whole word, where are you going with this? And the evidence is that this issue is brought up, in a way, earlier by the Rebbe, at the end of Adar 29. Because this really connects to the sugya of, also a big theme in this Maamer, the difference between Purim and Kippur. Right? Because in the beginning, the Abatzan, you look between the Tikkuni Zohar and Alter Rebbe's Maamerim, there's three Eifanim. In Tikkuni Zohar, it seems that Kippurim is higher than, Purim is like Kippurim, but Yom Kippur is higher than Purim. in most of our Alter Rebbe, the mashmos is that they're the same, they're equal, and then in the specific Maamer, he says Kippurim that Purim is higher than Kippurim. How is it higher? It explains in Siv Dalid that mitzad echad they're both equal. Right from the earlier statement, they're both equal. They both have a goyrel takes place, and what was the other Indian? The kapara. Balaratzin. Balaratzin. But what's the chilek, and why is this higher than that? Even though they both get the kapara from Balaratzin, right? Mitzad Ratzin, they sure wants mitzvahs. You didn't do mitzvahs. You went against him. How could there be a kapara for it? There's an issue. There's a pgam, lamata and lamayla. Mitzad Balaratzin. There's not mugder in the Ratzin, so mele kri kapara. So that's Yom Kippur Side Purim. The difference is that on Yom Kippurim, even though it comes from a place of Lamaila, of Balaratzin, which means removed from Torah mitzvahs, that our relationship to the Yom is not based on and not dependent on a sort of give and take. You do mitzvahs, the Yom connects with us. Rather, it's Balaratzin, the Yom is not mugder. So mele, there's no rules. So mitzad echad, it's beyond Torah, it's beyond our avodah. Our avodah doesn't really play a factor there. But mitzad sheni, even though it comes from that place, but the poil, the kapara is only if you do tshuva. Tshuva darf yetan. Regular Torah mitzvahs nicht. Tshuva yet. Mashenken Purim, the lashon was. Mashenken kapara sheisel l'chol yigulum. Purim is a yom simcha, right? Which is it's complicated lashon on its own, right? And conversation on the chat that the Rebbe changed the lashon here, whereas the Rebbe doesn't say what exactly was going on then, but the Rebbe basically brings again myself today that the kapara that was the Yidden in Meir Purim Harei Yom Simcha. It translated into being today Purim Yom Simcha because the main meaning of Goyrel is Purim. There's no Hagbalas and you don't have to do any tshuva. In Kippur has mechaperim tshuva, and here there's no. So what we're saying is in Kippur stuff, there is an element of avodah involved. It's a different kind of avodah. Tshuva is a higher avodah, a different kind of avodah than Torah mitzvahs, but there was episode avodah. Shekin Purim is no avodah. So he asks, he says in Adar 29, in this Torah that says the difference between Yom Kippurim and Purim. So the Rebbe learns in Torah this vart that it's Yom Simcha, so there's no union of avodah here. Well, in the Torah it's mashma, shakaparim may Purim ha'yisad im seres nefesh one. The pashtus, the pasuk pshat in Torah what the Rebbe says when he explains there, why is Purim higher than Kippurim? What does he say? Why is it higher? Because Kippurim was through tshuva. Purim was from seres nefesh. And seres nefesh is higher than tshuva because seres nefesh Maamer sets on the shah. So the avodah does play a role. The kapara came from Balaratzin. What's the role of Mesiras Nefesh? Look at Siftes to figure it out there. Okay, so we came to Siftes, we're here. We arrived. No rush day. Right, so we'll just read the first few lines as if this. Kein, Karu, Purim al Shem Apur, Shenefilas HaGoyrel L'mayla Oisef Li Kavanas Ubchiras HaAtzmos. That what happened, the bets of the Goyrel was Lefi Kavan Ubchiras HaAtzmos, the way the Atzmos wants. Which what happens in Atzmos, the Agam Sha'ach Esav L'Yankir, that's the Goyrel, everyone's equal, there's no Maila to Esav, to Yaakov over Esav, and in that space, where they're totally equal, we call it Yaakov Esav Sanes. So what brings the kapara and what brings the turnaround, the v'nafichu, kavanas b'chiras ha'atzmos. So what's the role of Mesiras Nefesh? The idea of Mesiras Nefesh is over Meshach Kol Hashana. Dinin Mesiras Nefesh me'etzem ha'neshama, hayin mitzad ha'b'chira, de'etzem ha'neshama b'ha'atzmos. The idea is a nimshach v'niskal ha'b'chiras ha'atzmos b'Yisrael, al yedei zeh gam ha'goyrol d'l'mayla ha'yosh la'yehudim ha'yeh oira v'simcha v'sasi v'kar v'shon v'sbon v'yislo ha'letz. So what does he say? Where does the kapara come from? Chiras ha'atzmos. But what? So what's the role of Mesiras Nefesh? Because we had Mesiras Nefesh throughout the year, and Mesiras Nefesh comes from Etzem Neshama. that the bechira of our Etzem Neshama was mamshich, the bechira sa'atzmos of the Eibishter in us. Okay, so let's look. So what's the word? Pashas, what's the word? That it's not pshat, right? There's certain yonim where that our avoida actually makes it happen. Right? The way the Torah mitzvahs usually works is not the pshat, without chassidus, you do kach v'kach, do a certain amount of mitzvah, I'll give you schar. But the schar is disconnected from the mitzvahs. It's not that this is the mitzvah itself. But this is one of the yisodos of chassidus, schar, mitzvah, mitzvah. The schar that we get from a mitzvah is the mitzvah itself, how it translates into the areas of Maamer. Right? We're actually poil. Our mitzvahs, we put on tefillin, it makes the Eibishter put on tefillin. Our mitzvahs make changes l'mayla. It actually affects things. It makes things actually happen. But here we're saying, no, it's not the pshat, kilu, that our avodah was mamshich the kapara. The kapara comes from atzmos. And atzmos is kilu. It's not in the level of likus that's shaykh, right? Even in soivid is not affected by our avodah. Definitely atzmos. But how is atzmos niskala when we're ma'ir our eretz and neshama, and we bring out the bechira of eretz and neshama? This sort of triggers the bechira of atzmos l'mayla, and through that comes kapara. So we're only, what's the lashon? Right, the kapara comes mitzat doiro. The Mesiras Nefesh, but basically what the Mesiras Nefesh does is that it's ma'orer and the bechira HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the bechira HaKadosh Baruch Hu is now where the bechira take place in b'makom hagoyro, like the second keta of Sif Ches, right? In that place where the shnei dvarim shavim, the Eibishter is boicher, and there we get our kapara. So that itself, that's like a first day. But B'nai is a. One second. And what happens in Kippur? What's the story of Yom Kippur? So Yom Kippur, the Chayim come and say a shikolan. Say like this. No, Yom Kippur, taka regular avodah isn't take this makom. It doesn't bother the Eibishter. The regular Torah mitzvahs, which is why we could have kapara. But there is an avodah that is needed, and that's the avodah of tshuva. Tshuva is a deeper avodah. Tshuva reaches a deeper place in the person. It reaches a deeper place in the Maamer, by the Eibishter, the Adar II. And mitzat tshuva, there can be kapara. Right, the way that it was mevared in Chilik Daled, Sichos, and other places, there's Chilik Daled, Yom Kippurim, you say this Sicha about tshuva and Etzem Neshama. So there's like this. There's different kinds of ksharim. There's different relationships the Eibishter has with people. One relationship is the relationship with Torah mitzvahs. How does the relationship with Torah mitzvahs work? It's like, you want to connect with me? This is what you do. Do this mitzvah, I give you, do an aveira, we disconnect. It's a relationship built off give and take. You give me something. You do. The way you relate to me is by doing what I asked for, and I'm not concerned from that. So we have a relationship. Tshuva, what happens with tshuva? Tshuva is you have a yid that was chata, ava, the pagam, the upper, derech. He left, right? The Eibishter tells him to do things. He didn't listen. Obviously, it doesn't affect him. It didn't hold him back, because even though he knew what the Eibishter wants from him, he didn't do it. He went against the Ratzon Hashem. Come on, let's not. Then one day he wakes up and he starts feeling bad. He's like, I should really connect to the Eibishter, right? And he does tshuva. So the story of tshuva is what's really happening in tshuva. In tshuva, you'll say, why did he do tshuva? Because the Eibishter told him to do tshuva. Really? He's not doing tshuva because the Eibishter told him to. Because if you do what the Eibishter is telling you to, you would never do averos. Rather, why is he doing tshuva? Because it bothers him. It bothers him that he's disconnected. Why does it bother the person he's disconnected from the Eibishter? Does it bother you that you're disconnected from Shmerel that lives 5 blocks down? Right, it's real. The fact that I'm bothered by the fact that I went Eipach Ratzon Hashem is because there's something there. There's a relationship there. I wanted the wanting to be connected to him. The fact that I'm bothered that I'm not, vice that there's something more pnimi there. It's not just about what I did, what I didn't do. That's not the only thing that builds the kesher. There's something deeper. Even if you didn't do, you want to be connected with him. There's a chemistry, right? There's a connection between these two. And tshuva is megala that part of the neshama, a deeper part of the neshama. There's a lemaila. It's not about the level of rotz, and it's bala rotz. And even in that place where there's no mugdar dikar rotz, the Eibushter doesn't need anything out of this relationship, right? He doesn't want Torah mitzvahs at this level. He doesn't need anything. So then, why are we needed here? We're pawns. He needs mitzvahs, so he needs us. But in this darga bala rotz, he doesn't need Torah mitzvahs. So what kind of relationship could he have with us? But who's the one that wants? This that he wants Torah mitzvahs. The Baal HaRatz, he's the one that wants. Why did he want Torah mitzvahs? HaGufa. For vasa they don't do get Torah mitzvahs. Ratza Kadosh Baruch Hu lezakas es Yisrael leficha Torah mitzvahs. There's a kesher before Torah mitzvahs that brought about the Torah mitzvahs. So when we reach deep within us, that place within us that wants to do mitzvahs, that comes out by tshuva. The fact that I didn't do mitzvah, I didn't do what the Eibushter wants, and now I want to connect with him. That's Ma'ira L'mayla, that part of the Eibushter. That it's higher than Ratzin. He's not moved during the Ratzin to Torah mitzvahs. He'll have the Ratzin. He wants to connect with us, which brings about the Ratzin Torah mitzvahs. So that's tshuva. Then comes, but here we're talking about hecher, etzem haneshama. But the emphasis even Yom Kippur. What actually brings the kapara on Yom Kippur? So there's taka machlokes of Rebbe and Chachamim. There's machlokes of Rebbe and Chachamim if you need tshuva or not. So Rebbe says, "Vein nasa tshuva, there's a tshuva." So much mechaper. Chachamim say that you need tshuva. The Rebbe is machriya, and many of the Sichot, the Rebbe brings the proof from also Rambam. The Rambam says, "At atzmi shel yoy mechaper l'shavim." No, the Rebbe and Rabban don't disagree that it's so much mechaper. It's the koyach of Yom Kippur. Because if not, why not Yom Kippur? Do tshuva any day. No, it's Yitzumi Shal Yoim. But the Chum say in order for Yitzumi Shal Yoim to be Nisgala, you need tshuva. If the Etzem also Yom Kippur is Yitzumi Shal Yoim, and Yitzumi Shal Yoim is connected to the Etzem HaNeshama, so then it's mamish the same word as Purim. Right? The Be'etzem, where does the Kapara come from? Yitzumi Shal Yoim. The Etzem HaNeshama. The Atos of the Eibushter. In order for it to be scholar by the person, in order to access it, you need tshuva. Same thing here. Be'etzem, where did the kapara on Purim come from? B'chira. B'chira is atzis. Goyim. How do we access it? How do we connect with it? Through Mesiras Nefesh. So Mali Hacha, Mali Hasa. So weiter, we're going in circles. It all seems to be the same word.
You are speaking different madrigas, meaning.
No. What's the different madrigas? This is tshuva, this is Mesiras Nefesh. No,
even one's Baal HaRatz and one's B'chira. Right, Baal HaRatz.
No, to say Baal HaRatz is only the word of tshuva. Tshuva connects to Baal HaRatz.
Right.
But the Yitzumi Shal Yoim is not Baal HaRatz. If the whole word of Yom Kippur is tshuva, that's the Ma'il Sayoim tshuva. And Taka is Mavur. It's all about tshuva. So I would say why that Yom Kippur? Because something unique about Yom Kippur, that the tshuva is a greater tshuva. Right? Also Mavur in the Sichos a lot. That the tshuva that we do on Yom Kippur is on a higher level. But Haguf, why on a higher level? Because something unique about the day. But if the whole word would be that only mitzvah tshuva, so Torah mitzvah is a relationship that we have through action, right? Through Mashavah Ramaisa, through I relate to you through doing what you want, and you relate to me by the fact that I did what you want. Tshuva is the fact as a chvilton Torah mitzvahs, and the fact that the Eibushter is the Baal HaRatz, that will, right? He's the one that has the Ratz. But Yitzumi Shal Yoim is different.
Different than Baal HaRatz.
Different than Baal HaRatz. And the Sikh Chel Dal is very is mechalik. It's very. Some of the oisias there aren't fully unpacked, but it's very very simplistic a sif there. The Sikh Chel Dal towards the beginning of the Sikh, Yom Kippur Chel Dal, important Sikh to learn. The first half of the Sikh at least, and it's 3 levels there. There's Ratz and Baal HaRatz, and then there's Yom Kippur. It's only Shalim. What's that? That's Etzem HaNeshama. Etzem HaNeshama is different than the level of tshuva, because Etzem HaNeshama isn't the word that he feels bad. That he did a day, right? That level of the neshama that isn't mugder by Torah mitzvahs, but it's egbert, it's about that he didn't do Torah mitzvahs, and he wants Torah mitzvahs, shows that he fought has a shaykhis to Torah mitzvahs. First has a shaykhis to the pgam. The pgam didn't affect it, but it has a shaykhis, it bothers him. But that's when Hashem there's no pgam. That's when Hashem is not affected in any way. But the whole story didn't happen. There's no aveir, there's no mitzvahs, there's no nothing. It's Yechida Liachta. It's one with the Eibushter. Al derech zeh, atzvus of the Eibushter, the whole Torah, Goyrol is saying that there's Shnei Dvarim, and b'yachas to Goyrol it's Shavim. Right? It's a Bala Ratzin. There's Teru Mitzvahs, there's Averis. It's a Bala Ratzin. Oyer V'choysha Shavim L'Gavei. By Atzis, there's no Oyer V'choysha. There's no Oyer V'choysha by Atzis, right? There's no Oyer, there's no Choysha, there's no Mitzvahs. It's only him. It's not Emaleh. In other so Kumtes, the Yom Kippur as well, what's the essence of Yom Kippur? It's Tzumi Sheyem Mechaper. The Etzem HaNeshama that connects the Atzmus of the Eibishter. If the heart of Yom Kippur is It's Tzumi Sheyem Mechaper, the Gilui Etzem HaNeshama and the Gilui of Atzmus L'mayla, Pchira. So why why is the Psak Din, why are we paskin L'maysa Kechom that Mechaper only L'Shavim? Why have to do Tshuva? What's our Tshuva? Etzem HaNeshama is great. So here there's like a different biurim in Chassidus, especially in the sixth of Maamer of Tavshin Chav Gimel. The Maamer here in the beginning of Mukhet Hey, Shoshana, Yom Kippur, Sukkos, or Vav Tishrei, Sukkos, and the Sichos of Chav Gimel, which is the Sichos of Chelik Daled, and Shoshana and Yom Kippur Chelik Daled. In each Maamer, there's a bit of a different oasis, but even clearly the kav is the Einach Hanami, the Kapara be'etzem comes from the etzem HaNeshama, from the etzem Atzmus L'mayla. In order for it to be discarded by the person down here, and especially to be discarded in his Keiches HaGeluyim, and to make a kapara there, it has to go through the Keiches HaGeluyim system. It has to first go through Avodah. Why? Because, yeah, inside etzem HaNeshama, everything's in the skapar. Inside etzem HaNeshama, I don't even need a kapara. I never did it on Aveda. Right? If the Vard is only Yom Kippur, that's when Hashem is in Skala. Shema Yisrael, Avayla Likim, Ne'ilah, right? Yisrael Malka B'Chudai, it's all great. Say that. In that space, I never sin. In that space, Torah, Mitzvahs, there's nothing. There's only Yisrael B'Chudai Kol Echad, right? There's nothing else. What we want is that the human being, in this Keiches HaGeluyim, this Guf, in his day-to-day life, right? The day after Yom Kippur, to be poil on him, that also inside his Keiches HaGeluyim, inside his Mitzias, should also relate it. So for that we say the Taka the Kapara comes from Etzem HaNeshama. The tshuva is that the Kapara shouldn't only be inside Etzem HaNeshama, it should also be in the tzir of the Keiches HaGeluyim. Also in your regular, in your Keiches, and the lower levels of the Neshama, there as well there should be a Kapara. So there's sort of this chibur of Etzem HaGeluyim. Each Maamer says the Oisi is a bit different, but like Chloe, this is a Yisoy. The speaker brought these Oisias in the Maamer of in Kippur Maamer of Chol Adam Le'iyah in Sif Zayin. Sif Zayin. Okay, so now it comes to Purim. What do we say on Purim? We say on Purim that the Kapara comes to Etzem HaNeshama. Atzmus L'mayla. That's this oiler through our Nesiras Nefesh. So what's going on here? So we have Avodah Sa'adam, we don't have Avodah Sa'adam. So is it the same word as Yom Kippur? That's it's the Gilui of Bechira of Atzmos, and the Nesiras Nefesh Kilo is to the Nesiras Nefesh is to make it part of our Keiches HaGeluyim. The Nesiras Nefesh isn't really Keiches HaGeluyim. Number one. Number two, if that's the case, then it's the same exact word as Yom Kippur, Purim, and Purim. So what's the mile of Purim over Kippurim? It's the same word. That the Kapara Etzem comes from Atzmos, and we have an Avodah to bring it into our Mitzvahs. Yeah? But then it's the same thing. Elamai, it's nicht dieselbe Sache. If it's nicht dieselbe Sache, so the comes there's a mile to Yom Kippur over Purim. That Yom Kippurim, through Tshuva, actually the Etzem comes to our Keiches HaGeluyim. Purim, it doesn't. So what's the mile of Purim? Right. So any way you look at it, there's something missing here.
We said Ba'aratz is not Atzum Sheyem Mechaper, right?
Huh?
So we said that Ba'aratz is not Atzum Sheyem Mechaper, right? Ba'aratz is lower than.
Yeah.
So this though we say that Purim is higher than Yom Kippur, that's affecting Ba'aratz. Darag Ba'aratz, Taki Purim is Meir Ba'aratz and more than Yom Kippur, but Yom Kippur is Taka higher, but it's not higher than Ba'aratz.
So if the vart is, so you're saying the whole hashva here in the Maamer is mitzad Purim, the goyrel of Purim, biyachas to the goyrel, to the balaratzin of Yom Kippur.
It's if I don't know, it's if that's, I don't know.
Okay, the balaratzin of Yom Kippur. But if you'll take it go to Yitzumi Shal Yom Kippur, But then if you're costing a sefer, then that's not a fear. That's
Mashana.
not a fear hashva, because
So why
you're saying that Purim is higher than Yom Kippurim. But wink. If you know the truth about Yom Kippur, they're really the same. But let's talk about the chitzonius of Yom Kippur, and on there Yom Purim is higher. But really, Kippurim is almost actually Purim. That's the it's not fear hashva.
Meaning, Haknaf says we didn't change Yom Kippur to the day of, we didn't change Purim to the day of Kippur, right? Meaning, at the end of Yom Kippur,
You did.
No.
What? It is the day
Why
of
we
Kippur.
fast? It's like an end
So why wasn't it fasting?
No, and then we make Yom Kippur the day of Tshuva, right? Yom Kippur is still the day of Tshuva, not Purim. Not meaning, Achas Bashar, we say that Yom Kippur,
Yom Kippur is about the day of Tshuva. That's what Yom Kippur is. That's like the whole Yisoid of the Besichos and Maamer and Toshav of Gimel. It's not about Tshuva. Just like to say that Rosh Hashanah is about doing Tshuva as well. The whole Yisoid of Yom Kippur is Tzum Mishal Yoyim. That's so much. And then finally, when he speaks about the Mesiras Nefesh that a Yid has, what does he say? Where does the Mesiras Nefesh come from? Inyan Mesiras Nefesh u'meyatzim ha'neshama. Mitzad ha'bchira de'etzim ha'neshama ba'atzmos. Where does Mesiras Nefesh come from? Etzim ha'neshama. Mitzad ha'bchira de'etzim ha'neshama in atzmos. Mesiras Nefesh comes from Mitzad ha'bchira de'etzim ha'neshama in atzmos. Especially look in Tanya, Perek Yefes. In many places, Leif and Klali, right? And so he brings in R69. What's Mesiras Nefesh of Etzem Neshama? Mashiach Shekval Lichbar B'Hashem Echad. Oh, we know the famous word. That's Yid Nishter Vil Nishter Kan. This is from Everton. Siddur explains Nishter. It's two darkness. Nishter Vil Zayin Al Kirisin is Chaya. Nishter Ken Zayin Al Kirisin is Yechida. The whole word of Yechida is Vod and Vod Leslo. There's no parallel in the Nefesh Bahamas. Nefesh Bahamas could have even Chaya, right? Kfir Yechidasi could have Chaya. Nefesh Bahamas, which is what we call today addictions, right? The fact that Nefesh Bahamas can be so involved in something, Umayla B'Tam B'Das in Ganzen, and is completely trapped in it, is the Nikud of Chaya. But Yechida, the fact that as a Zoy Dar Zayin, it's not Shayach Anders, this is just who he is. That's only by Yechida of the Nefesh Elikis. So Derech Klau, when I take Yechida in the Mesiras Nefesh, it's not Shayach Anders. It's my tef. It's who I am. But here we're saying that Bchir, saying what's Mesiras Nefesh? Bchir of Etzem Neshama.
It's the same thing, no? Isn't that what the Bchir is? Bchir Chashis. So it's depends on Anders.
As Ken is ein anderes.
Bchir Chashis.
So what's Chashis?
That's the new element.
The what?
No, by the Chashis. I'm free to be like myself.
Oh, so all to boil down, this is the Chilik Ketes, it boils down what's the Yisoid of Bchir. Let's bring this out. To connect this to the whole. What I'm saying is, first of all, this lashon that Mesiras Nefesh comes out of the Bechira of Etzem Neshama is not a pashal lashon of Siddur. I'm not going to find it anywhere else, or almost anywhere else. The lashon there calls Mesiras Nefesh of Etzem Neshama. It's a Yechida. It's a Perkeret. It's Teva. What's the lashon in Perek Yutes? That the Teva of the Neshama is Lalis Lamayla, right? And why is it called Teva? Kol Davar that's Lamayla Mitam B'das is called Teva, right? But here we're saying, as Barichas last year, the whole Nekudah of Bechira is that it's Lamayla Miteva. Teva is like Ben La'av. The kesher of Ben La'av is Rutz. That's Teva. Bechir is L'mayla Teva. But here we're saying that the Mesiras Nefesh here is not the Mesiras Nefesh of a Ben to his father. Ki Ben Yerachim B'sar Ov Avim V'Moser Nafsha L'Misal Alayv. Very good time. It's not that. We're talking about Mesiras Nefesh here that's Bechir. It's Bechir. Kapon and Kiragu, we always get to the heart the way there. So what's happening here? So what's happening here is it. Right? It boils down to the original question of in the beginning, so Bach was speaking to me. He didn't know about Bechira. Haman didn't know about Bechira. Or he wasn't worthy in our Meiser Nafsha. We still have the Bechira of the Eibishter in the Yid. When is the Eibishter Bechira in the Yid? When does this happen? So we know that when we say before Krishma, Bonu B'chart Mikol HaMelashim, and Shulchan Aruch says you have to have a kavanah what? Matan Torah. Because that's when the Bechira happened. Okay, it happened by Matan Torah. It happened here by Purim. Every Rosh Hashanah before Tekiyas, we say Yivchar Lonos Nachal Zeinu. So there's a yearly, the annual Bechira celebration on Rosh Hashanah. What does that actually mean? Very well, so what happens is that like once a year or a few times a year, the Eibush there picks out and chooses us, and the rest of the time he doesn't choose us. Bechira is mitzad atzmus, right? Bechira comes mitzad atzmus. When we're saying that atzmus does something, atzmus is boicher, or similarly we have in the Dir B'Tayim, Nisava Kodesh Baruch Hu is a Dir B'Tayim. When was the Nisava? When was the Eibush Nisava for a Dir B'Tayim? When did that happen? So actually, the original medrash in the Nisava Kodesh Baruch Hu is there's multiple medrashim. And some of the medrashim, the lashon is B'shah Shah Kodesh Baruch Hu Bara Esei Lamai Nisava Shiur Leidira B'Tachtoyin U'Kumayim B'Al This is the original medrash. There's many issues with the medrash, how it fits with Chassidus. Number one, Dir B'Tachtoyin Kumayim B'Al Yoyin, but also the lashon B'Shah Shabar Esei Lamai, the mashmos of the medrash and Pshat is the Eibush created the world. The medrash isn't telling us why the Eibush created the world. The Eibush created the world. When he created the world and he saw the world, he's like, oh, interesting world. B'Shah Shabar Esei Lamai. He's like, yeah, I want a dir. Right, the mashmos, at least that medrash, it doesn't seem like that's the reason for the bria. It's stating a fact. What happened closer? But we know that the Eibush created the world mitzad nisava kodesh baruch Hu. So how do we understand it? Yeah, we a bit provocative, but the Eibush there was a voracious lisachlis. He was always around. At what moment did he have this taiva for dir b'tachtoyin? It's like all of a sudden it hit him. He wants dir b'tachtoyin. We're talking about atzmus, right? Atzmus, there's no zman, there's no makim, there's no even seder zman that exists l'mayla. We're talking about koidim hatzimtzum and koidim any oyer. There's no siv, there's no sort of atzmus. So we say the Eibush there is nisava. He was nisava. The Eibush there was boicher the yid. So for like 248 years, it was like cool. It was like no, there was. The Eibush didn't mix in, and then in Torah the Eibush came and was boicher the yid. Right, the bechira was in their guf. We also got our neshamas pretty much. The neshamas came a bit earlier by Avram. Right, so we had our neshamas from Avram. I mean, in Yitzchak and Yaakov, and especially by Yitzias Mitzrayim, and the Yom Ticha. And then the Eibush comes and decides to choose. Who's he choosing? He's choosing the yid. He's choosing the goyim, and he chooses the yid. One of the heart and kolam v'lashem. So Maamer is a 2248, and then the Eibush is boicher, like the atzmus comes and is boicher the yid, and before that he wasn't boicher, and also now he decides to choose. But what do these things mean? Now obviously we're speaking about atzmus, almost with zman and makim, and even these expressions, it's terms we're using. It's shazak. It's terms we're using to express a kesher atzmi. I mean, you know atzmus in Tzadech and Chassidus, there's no toyer on atzmus. Turn shaydim on atzmus. Shaydim Chassidus has different tchunis, quote unquote, on atzmus. Chassidus speaks about B'chiras Atzmos, Isabel of Atzmos, Netzach, Maamer Bas Lagani, Netzach reaches Atzmos. It's also, yeah? So enemy comes, an enemy shows up. When the enemy, it's Moyer Midas and Netzach. So the Eibush there is all calm. And comes an enemy, which how could an enemy exist beyond the Atzmos, and now the Eibush also in the Moyer Midas and Netzach. What do these things even mean? There's Toikef Atzmi, Bittul Atzmi, I'm sure you'll find all places, there's different Roimos Atzmis. The tzadashah of all these different young, there are different tchunis that we're using, these are different tchunis that bring out in the kudah that this is something that's one with him. It's one with him. Das is eralein. What's nisave? Nisave is a bitui. We're talking about something that has no rule, no netiya, nothing pulling him, no teva involved. Eralein. So it's not Bechira. Bechira is down here, and this is the Barichas and Chilik test. There's the Giloya Bechira and the Shurish Bechira. The Giloya Bechira takes place, you have to choose between two things, you have to choose two elements, you have to choose one of them. But what's the Shurish Bechira? What's the essence of Bechira? Bechira, we speak about Bechira of the Eibush there, of Atzmas, and Bechira of Etzem and Neshama. What does Bechira mean? Bechira means, just like Bechira down here means, where your seichel can't be machriya, ratzon can't be machriya, teva can't be machriya. Teva of a person, the person wants to live. Ratzon ha'af leben, ben la'af. But because they're tzir, it has a certain tchunet to it. We go to the most raw part of the person, just eralei, without any tzir whatsoever, take him and divorce him from anything associated with him, even the closest things, eralei, and from that space he's boicher. So when we say b'chir b'yachas to the Eibush and b'chir b'yachas to the Neshama, we're saying when we'll go to the etzem of a yid, where there's nothing. Not even the teva that a yid wants to make to the Eibush there because, or even not only wants to, the teva connects to the Eibush because the Eibush is his father. That's weiter a teva of the neshama. You talk about the neshama alone without even that tchuna that he has. And if you're a ben, part of the rules are, it's a rule that a son loves his father, but beyond those rules. The core of the individual, was is there, ein zach mit dem Eibush. By the Eibush there, when you go to Atzmus Sumahos, beyond all spheres, all darkness, all Eiris, even Eiris Gals Atzmusi, the Eibush there are lame. What do you find there? If you find the Eibush there, you find the Shamas Yisrael. You find the Eibush there, you find the Rebbe. You can't, when you talk about the Eibush there, you cannot speak about Atzmus Sumahos and Zivara. When you talk about the Eibush there himself, there is no Eibush there, Kiviyachol, without the Rebbe. Without the Shamas Yisrael, without Yidden. Because if you can divorce the two, then it means that we're not Moshe Shanatzis. Because there's this place that we don't exist, and he decided to want us. So that's already a ratzon. That's already a gilui. It's an lane, right? That's the pshat b'chir. B'chir when we speak b'chir b'yachas to atzvus and b'yachas to us, that's man neshama. It's mamish ein zach. I'll call upon him. So when we're speaking about here about Mesiras Nefesh and Amdezes and Meshachol Hashana, that's when the Neshama. It's not a cause and effect. It's not an avodah that brings the dark. It's not even an avodah that's ma'oider. It's one thing. When you get the etzem and neshama of the yid, and especially the dark of b'chira of etzem which means mamish the etzem of the neshama, you can't say that a yid chooses the Eibush as a yid's choosing something else. Because there is no something else in the place of Bechira. Bechira means all there is me. That's what Bechira means. There is no Zulas. Not in a way of Bechira, in a way of Shlila. We talk about Zbarichas last time. There's only Ichaleh. So when we say that a Yid is Boicher the Eibush there, what does it mean? It means that when you get to the Etzem and Neshama of the Yid, there is ein Zachar there. There is no anything other than the Eibush there. The Bechira Sa'atzvus of the Eibush there in Yidin means that when you reach Atzmusi Yisbarach, Yisrael Kodesh B'Chol Kulachar. It's not an act that plays. It's not by Purim the Eibush chose the Yid. It's language that we use in the Megillah, things that we use in Chassidus to bring the tie or something. But it's not a pa'ula that happens on Purim or on Rosh Hashanah it's we enter a space when Yidin or Megalah Mesiras Nefesh that comes from the Bechira, they're entering a space where there Yidin and Eibush are one. Yidin and Eibush are one. In that place, Yidin and Eibush are one. Ve'em l'zarim itach. Why didn't Haman know about Bechira? He's not invited. It's so malchul b'chudoi. It's not knowing Chassidus and the Sar L'mayla, knowing Dargis. There's something that's inaccessible. It's not another Darga. It's not, it's a Bechira, and there the Eibush sort of breaks through the system. It's a whole different place. It's not a place where there's Yidin and Goyim and there's a world and there's mitzvahs and averis. They are taking smoking, they aren't taking smoking. It's a whole different conversation. All there is in that place is the Eibush there, Yidin, ultimately Torah mitzvahs, mitad b'tachtonim. That's all that there is. There isn't anything else. There isn't anything else there. When you reach that space, let's just say this later. Yom Kippur has a mile. Yom Kippur, it's then choider and krichas hageluyim, right? Through tshuva, it actually goes down and. So I'm not sure. We're not talking about trachten, and or you see, you could say that there is not misachas did so much yom. It's an integral part of the vart. But because the Yom Kippur vart, even though it's a gilui of etzem and neshama, but we're talking about yidin that they still have to do an avodah. that they have to, that there's this disconnect of the Etzem Neshama and the Keiches HaGluyim. The Etzem Neshama is sort of superimposed on them. If I want the Etzem Neshama to be choder in the Keiches HaGluyim, I need to do an act of tshuva to sort of connect the Etzem Neshama and the Keiches HaGluyim. What seems to happen here on Purim is, in Purim, there's this nekuda of the bechira of the Etzem Neshama. And then later, we never continues in Siftes, the Etzem Mitzad this bechira, all the other dargis. That's what things later in Siftes. So all the dargis, goyrol, and the lower dargis, and the goyrol of Haman, all the dargis are Etzem Mitzad bechira. What happens on Purim is that the Gil of Etzem Neshama is in such an oifin that I don't have to do an act. I don't have to do tshuva. I don't have to do something to be mechaber. For it's a Gil of Etzem Neshama is not oifin that the Etzem is the Etzem of the Keiches HaGluyim. To use the sprach of Rat Tetzaveh. It's the whole mahus of a yid. The whole mahus of a yid is ein zachet in Ebershtin. In this place, it's not about avodah bichlal. There is no avodah. Who's going to do avodah? A yid just serve the Ebershtin. It's Yisrael Kodesh Baruch Hu Kulachad. In Yisrael Kodesh Baruch Hu Kulachad, there's no Elyon, there's no Tachtin, there's no Musik avodah. It's the truth. There's an expression of truth. That's what happens on Purim. On Purim, the Etzem is Niskala, the truth is Niskala, Atzmos of the Ebershtin, Atzmos of the Yidin, B'chiras HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'chiras Yisrael. And that's the word of tshuva and the word is and that's the word of the Mesiras Nefesh. It's the expression of the deepest, the etzem of the yid, the one with the etzem of the Eibishter. In Hazal Oifin, that all the dargis of the neshama and all parts of the yid and all parts of reality, goyrol, even the goyrol of Haman, are all seen through that prison. That the etzem, all they are is a bitui of the b'chiras ha'etzem and b'chiras ha'etzem of the one etzem of Yisrael Kodesh Baruch Hu Kulachad. I might have lost you the last one. This one I lost myself. Mesiras Nefesh. What's Mesiras Nefesh? Mesiras Nefesh is the bitui of the bechira. It's not an avodah. The word's not the avodah. It's the fact that Yidden stayed in Mesiras Nefesh a ganze Jahr, which b'chlal, that's also big chiddush. Right? It's like one big Chassid would say, what's the right? Alter Rebbe had the Ruach HaKiddush, but he says that a ganze Jahr they stayed in Mesiras Nefesh. They also died Moshe V'Schus HaShalom. As Alter Rebbe know what went on like Klal over a full year. Another shaila is why did they leave Mesiras Nefesh for the entire year? The whole Gzeira was just for a couple of days. Right, it was in Spak a few days later. You could say, okay, told the shtar, told the ksav that was Chav Gimel Sivan. So fine, it's a whole thing of its own. The vart of Mesiras Nefesh is not the avoid of Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh as a bitui, the expression of the etzem haneshama of the yid. Tshuva is also comes from Etzem Neshama, but it's already a lower level. It's already Shaykh Keiches HaGluyim in a place where there are mitzvahs and averis, but it's mechaper on it, right? So it is connected to that. Mesiras Nefesh here, the word of Mesiras Nefesh is not that they stood strong and not ready to do any averis. That's not the word of Mesiras Nefesh. The word of Mesiras Nefesh is the Yidden in such a mind massively. Also, I know Shevas Chutz Chas V'Sholem. And this is the was explain why they needed it for a full year. If the Zero was already in the spot, it wasn't about the Gzeira, maybe even at that stage. It was beyond that, right? The Mesiras Nefesh here means the Yidden were in a state that their etzem on neshama geloichim begil. In a way that all parts of their nefesh and all parts of their entire lives were chader in the union of etzem on neshama. And that's the word that Rebbe says, Harei Yem Simcha. Also, in the Maamer Chav Gimel, the Rebbe says that tshuva, in avodah guf, and tshuva is going outward, is changing yourself. Here, we don't talk about changing. Harei Yem Simcha. Stay a regular day, eat, drink, do your regular things. Because you don't have to do a pu'ul with your Keiches HaGluyim. The etzem on neshama, on the level of bechira, this maybe would be different. The regular etzem neshama, not mitzad bechira, you would have to do a pu'ul to connect to Keiches HaGluyim. Bechira means that it's the core of who you are. There isn't anything, you can't, there is no me, just like you dig down to a person, the deepest part of themselves, divorce him from everything. What do you have, just the core? But here we're saying, at that core, he's one with the Eibishter. If at the core, mamish, we're one with the Eibishter, then every prat of us, and all our Keiches will also be that part. There isn't anything that's disconnected from that. I don't have to do tshuva for my Keiches to be connected. So do mishteh v'simcha, eat, drink, live right? It's etzem haneshama, totally muvdul. It's actually harei yem simcha. That's what today it's yem simcha. Then it was Mesiras Nefesh. Right? Then it was the vart that was the Mesiras Nefesh. But the way it's rik sich eis haint is regular day.
You said
So Yom Simcha, and the word, the Keches HaGluyim naturally flow from the Etzem HaNeshama. So it's one thing. Huh?
You said the Mishnah Simcha is a keli for this year.
That's the verb. What's the verb? Why is it a keli? It's a keli because the verb I don't have to do tshuva. I don't have to leave. The Keches HaGluyim don't have to be massing themselves to the Etzem HaNeshama. It's like here's Etzem HaNeshama, here's Keches HaGluyim. Merge. Tshuva is sort of that merge between the two. No, you don't have to do any merging. On this level of Gilei Etzem HaNeshama, it's at the Bechira, Yisrael Kodesh B'richut Kol Echad, Etzem HaNeshama Keches HaGluyim Kol Echad, it's an outside. It explains in Siftes that Mitzad Bechira is a scale that all dargis, and you have to explain that, but that also, that's what we saw here, and Mitzad Bechira, all that goyrel, Keches HaPnim, it's all pratim, bituyim of Bechira.